Hey, welcome back to another Haven't Read It video. Today's first story is from r/BoomersBeingFools. My vet won't call pets by their names because of Florida and boomers and older Gen Xers. To try and trigger and own people, you can guess what several people in my area of Southwest Florida named their black cats or black lab or black cocker spaniel or other black dogs. They bring their dogs to the dog park and whine when people won't call their dog the N-word as they freely use it and said it's only the name of their dog and not a racial slur. The police have even came out to the dog park a couple of times because they will try to use the N-word as much as possible with their dogs. They get upset when people won't let their dogs play with their dogs or when people won't allow their kids to play with their dogs and complain that people are offended and snowflakes. The veterinarian clinic where I take my Dachshund and cat to no longer call pets by their name, effective immediately. Verified by the receptionist today when I came in for shots. Younger boomer and older Gen Xer came in and got offended when the veterinarian wouldn't call his dog's name and claimed the veterinarian was discriminating against their dog by refusing to say his name. So now they are not allowed to call animals by their name and have to use the owner's name, like when mine, Zoe, or Miss Last Name, come into the exam room too. So even in the exam room, they are not allowed to refer to your pet by name. So you're here for your dog who needs her shots? Because angry boomer or Gen X threatened to sue them for discrimination for not saying the N-word as the name of their dog. Only in fucking Florida. Also, I forgot, we have a cat in my building named Adolf Hitler because the cat has a mustache and a boomer owner demands that people call his cat Adolf Hitler. Not Adolf, but Adolf Hitler because that's his name. Top comment says, imagine being so pathetic you take a pet who is supposed to be a member of your family and someone you love and name it something this dumb for a joke that nobody is laughing at. I always question why some baby names were banned. I get it now. It's because of people like this. OP responds, yes, they had to ban a few names here in Florida recently, and there are lawsuits claiming First Amendment freedom of speech. It made a news in Fort Myers News Press. Someone wanted to name their kid Adolf Hitler, and another person wanted to name their kid N-word hater. Welcome to Florida. That is disgusting. Second story of the day from r/anti-work. My boss asked me to act like an owner, but I am paid minimum wage. Today my boss gave us a speech about how we should take ownership of our work, go the extra mile, and treat the company like it's ours. Meanwhile, they can't even offer a living wage or basic benefits. Why should I act like an owner when I'm not even treated like a human being? You want loyalty? Pay for it. Top comment says, act like the owner? Awesome. You're fired for being the highest paid employee with the lowest production. Someone responds, okay, I'm going home 4 hours early and won't be on time tomorrow. If you try to call me with an issue, I'm just going to defer it to someone else. I'm also going on vacation to my other home in Florida for a few weeks on Monday. Next top comment says, I had this happen about a month ago. I'm assistant manager where I work, and who's basically GM for all the stores came for a week while the real manager was on vacation. She started telling me things about how my store is underperforming, which it isn't. We've made very much more than we did last year, just not enough for them, I guess. And she would ask, why am I managing your store? You're the manager. Meanwhile, I'm hourly still, not salaried like managers. I don't participate in their meetings, nor do I have access to our back-end systems. They keep trying to push these responsibilities on me while I'm still making what I do. Next top comment says, an alternative to the we're a family manipulation tactic. Someone responds, I talk to my family once a year. I guess today is it for you, boss. See you in 365. Next top comment says, about 20 years ago, I was working at a shitty dollar store being paid 25 cents over the federal minimum wage. I was between real jobs, had another one lined up, but it wouldn't come for about 2 months. I didn't really need the job. I had savings to bridge the gap. So I'm there pushing the broom around the store, as I was told, and my manager came over and told me to smile. Smile. They got up my ass. It cost me my last fuck. I just told her, for what you're paying me, I could do one thing at a time. Do you want me to keep sweeping or do you want me to stand around smiling at people? Or you could give me a raise. She just walked off. Astonishingly, I didn't get fired that day or at all from that job, even though my field of fucks was utterly fallow from that point on. Just tell your boss they're acting your wage. Someone responds, sweep while giving the absolute creepiest smile you can muster. Someone else responds, I worked for Chick-fil-A at one point, and they paid a few dollars more than any competitors, with the expectation that we act happy to be there and happy to help our guest. That put it in perspective for me, and is the explanation I give when bosses comment on my attitude. I'm paid to be present and doing one person's worth of work at a time. I'm not paid to pretend to be happy here, and certainly not paid enough for it to be real joy. Next story from r/malicious compliance. I stake my reputation on the fact we don't need any extra staff. Years ago, I was a union delegate for a hospital that underwent expansion. More services, more beds, an extra operating theater, etc. Before the expansion opened, the usual fight between the unions and management started over staffing. We went in really well prepared, and management took it well, offering staffing we needed. We had a final meeting with about 40 people in the room. HR, department heads, and the various unions. We get to the department I will call ABC, and the department head says we don't need any extra staff except for nurses. I argued, you have more space and more beds, and you need more cleaners, wardsmen, admin, staff, etc. He fires back, I stake my reputation on it that we don't need any extra staff. I asked the minutes record this specifically. A meeting is set for 4 weeks after the hospital expansion opening. We let him have his way, knowing he wouldn't be successful. Guess whose department turned into a complete farce? Nothing terrible, just lots of little issues. At the next union meeting again with all people previously present, I read out the list of issues Department ABC has. I then read out the last minutes with him stating that they didn't need any extra staffing and that the department head had staked his reputation on it. I then asked the head of ABC to justify all of this. He couldn't. I asked him, as he staked his reputation on this, and the outcomes have been poor, what does that mean? He gave no answer. I looked towards the CEO and said, you were here last time, and buck stops with you. He agreed to review the situation urgently. The union placed the hospital into formal industrial dispute at the meeting over the lack of staffing in Department ABC. The next day, the CEO sends out an email stating after a brief conversation with the head of Department of ABC, he has chosen to seek different career opportunities. Top comment says, when a person following your orders asks for documentation that you said this, you should really think about what you are saying. Second top comment, the joys of ensuring it was documented in the meeting minutes. Someone responds, I'll never understand why people don't stop to think for even a second when someone else goes out of their way to record it. Next top comment says, the CEO staked ABC's head's reputation for him. Next story from r/malicious compliance, stop wasting ingredients. Years ago, I worked as a laborer in a food production company, kind of a mom and pop size production/distribution facility. We made all types of foods and sauces. One of the more mundane steps to a particular sauce was opening and emptying large cans of tomato sauce into a large mixer. Pretty simple, just open, pour, and toss the can. One of the higher-ups decided we were wasting a lot of the sauce by not thoroughly cleaning out each can. We're talking about 20 to 30 ounces of tomato sauce per batch, which was probably around 2 to 3% waste. I get it, every cent counts. The problem was the solution they came up with was to use these rubber spatulas to clean out the extra sauce from those metal cans. It didn't take a scientist to see that this would not work out well, with the cans being sharp and cutting into the rubber, leading to rubber going into the sauce. I tried voicing concerns, but was shut down. I assumed they thought we were lazy and didn't want the extra work. So we do as we're told, and start cleaning the cans thoroughly. Sure enough, about 10 cans in we notice our spatula is missing large chunks of rubber. I hand one of the spatulas to my supervisor, and he takes it to his boss. On cue, he comes back about 2 minutes later and says, don't worry about scooping out the cans anymore. That was my first taste of maybe being a manager doesn't mean you have all the answers. Top comment says, that feeling when you realize someone in authority is completely oblivious to basic operational realities, and you're just left to watch the inevitable happen. Like, really? It's incredible how some people just don't grasp fundamental things. Last story of the day from Malicious Compliance. Show up 30 minutes early. Sure, Dave, as long as you do too. I am 15 years old and work as a soccer referee. I will normally arrive 10 to 15 minutes early to a game, which is plenty of time to check in players from both teams and make sure the field is in proper playing condition. One game I showed up to as an assistant referee, my center ref, 18 years old, let's call him Dave, told me all refs have to arrive 30 minutes early to every game. I know this is not true and stayed silent. We reffed the game as usual and returned to where we put our stuff at the end of the game. Dave told me that because I didn't arrive 30 minutes early, he would mark that I didn't show up, basically telling me that I wouldn't get paid for the game we just worked. I complained that this was a rule that he made up. He left the game without saying anything else, figuring that would be all. Note, if you're a referee without any assistant referees, you get paid like $5 more. I think this was Dave's plan. When I got home, I made sure to sign up to be center referee at every game where Dave was an AR. Dave showed up to his next game 15 minutes early, which is absolutely unacceptable. I said nothing the whole game, but only marked him absent, which means he wouldn't get paid. This went on for a week and a half until his paycheck came in, and he was about $120 off what his total should have been. I did make sure every game that Dave was less than 30 minutes early. Dave emails one of the main referees, who run everything, to see what the problem was. One of the main referees, let's call him John, told Dave he wasn't there, so he wouldn't get paid. Dave put 2 and 2 together and realized what I did. Emails were sent between Dave, John, and I, until John had the full story. Dave was fired for making up rules And I got paid for the first game with Dave. Don't take advantage of young people. Take that, Dave. Edit. Don't take advantage of people, not just young people. Top comment says, is someone else more upset by the fact that it's a referee? Someone who is meant to be trustworthy? OP responds, in my experience, most are, because it is a side job for most people. I got unlucky, I guess. Second top comment, LOL, screw Dave. Someone responds, yeah, fuck that Dave. Next top comment says, on behalf of my fellow Daves at r/Dave, we apologize for this man's un-Dave-like behavior. Are you sure his name wasn't Dan? OP says, I was just calling him Dave. His real name was something else, LOL. Deaf Dave responds, thank you for setting the record straight. Next top comment says, if Dave was fired for making up rules, I hope you were not fired for applying those same rules. OP says, nope, I was just following what he told me to only him. Thanks for listening, everybody. As I stated in the beginning of the last video, I'm looking for YouTube collaborators. So if you love reading Reddit posts and would love reading stories aloud, get in contact with me. Email is on a screen. See you in the next one.